main screen. Oh, I'm. This is why I need a husband. Number one girly popping off. Amy, guess what happened? I was choked out by my choker. I'm trying to put it back on. Totally. Everyone muted. No
Oh
one.
yeah, everyone is muted except for you and
I
I,
know
Kat.
we're laughing so loud.
I'm sure it's overwhelming, and
Girls,
that's part of the reason
why you get married so someone can put your choker on for you.
I still have the urge to reach through my computer screen and try to help you.
I know. I am being, I got it on. This is just behind the scenes. It's like to be young and at a virtual event in New York City.
And on that note, I think I should actually
Yeah,
say,
you want okay, I'll shut
say
up.
my official stuff, and we can get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Maris Kreizman, and I'm a book critic and the host of the literary podcast, The Maris Review. And I also run events at McNally Jackson. So I'm so glad you're here with us tonight. If you go to mcnallyjackson.com and look at our events calendar, you'll see all the amazing writers and programs we're hosting in the coming weeks. Please keep an eye on the site or subscribe to our newsletter to hear more about what's coming soon. There will be time at the end of tonight's conversation for your questions. I have lots of questions for Kat, but I'm sure you do too. So you can use the Zoom chat function to submit any questions you have, and I will relay them. We're glad that even though we can't all be in the same room, we're still able to host events during this difficult time. As we've weathered the pandemic and reopened all 4 of our locations for browsing and shopping, indie bookstores like ours still need more support. And so if you enjoy free events like this one and want us to keep hosting more of them, please buy books from us. Throughout the evening, I will be yelling at you to buy Kat's book from McNally Jackson, and I will also post a link in the chat. And now I'm so delighted to introduce Catherine Cohen, a native.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna. Do you want me to go through your bio? Well,
Yeah, I love it. It's like a reminder.
yeah. Let's remind the people who you are. A native of Houston, Texas, a comedy sensation who has a residency at Joe's Pub and hosts a weekly show at Club Cumming. She also co-hosts the popular podcast about dating, boys, and sex, Seek Treatment. And Kat, you have this wonderful new book of poetry out. And will you please read to us?
You know how shy I get when I'm at a virtual event. Oh, I'm happy to be here. As I said earlier, like if y'all girlies want to have your cameras on, I love connecting with you. I love seeing your bright, shining faces. I'm so grateful you're here. Maris, thank you so much for having me. It was so funny. You were talking about like the sadness of the pandemic, and as I put on my faux diamond choker, and I was like, this is living. It does hurt. It is kind of I can't see straight, but I would love to read some poems from the book. This is my little girl. We love her. Look familiar? So killing. I'm absolutely on fire tonight. Y'all look gorge. Oh my god, this is community for once. Okay, I'll read a few. I told Maris I'm really tired because today I actually went on a walk and that's a lot more steps than normal. Usually the steps are from the toilet to the bed, but today it was to the east village. Okay, top 40 hit. All right. Amy, what are you eating? A little bit of rice, your favorite food. I love when a friend's on the Zoom. Oh, I feel so at peace. Okay, let's see.
Mm.
This one's called Poem I wrote after you ordered fried shrimp at the diner, and I was like, gross, but really I was like, dang, that sounds good. I'm always horny and looking for somewhere to charge my phone. The Paris Review came in the mail today and I performed reading it. I can't write if no one is watching. I can't stop checking my pussy for weird bumps. One time I went to the doctor and when she told me I gained 15 pounds, I was like, that's a lot. And she was just like, yeah, thank you. This one's called Modern Love Poem. Anyone else just feel a chill run down their spine? Modern Love Poem. I should think more about the government, but I just want you to tell me that fucking me is the end of the world. Thank you. Let's see what else we got in here. Ooh, This one's kind of sexy, if that's okay with everyone. It's almost Valentine's. It is amazing to speak directly into the void. Cool. No, it's cool. Okay, this is called The Void. Last night I told Ian I loved him, and then he made me squirt 4 times, just like in the movies. I'm on a plane to London to meet Aaron at a fuck hotel. I don't feel bad about sending Scotty the nudes. I take pills to feel less like a protagonist, drink orange wine to feel more like one. I live in New York, so I know about Joan Didion. She says the void is like a snake you can't kill, so you better keep your eye on it. But when you bite my neck, it feels so good. Thank you. Kind of horny poem towards everyone. I'm a core. I'm like, they're all so good. Where do I start? I love seeing everyone's face pop up. Maybe just like 2 more. Yeah, as crazy as that sounds. I'm trying to one I haven't read out loud before. Sometimes, oh, I don't think I've read this one out loud before. Uh, Poem I wrote after I asked my friend if her new boyfriend cares about me. I'm wearing jeans to punish myself, unfortunately. I just walked into the other room to make you pause your video game, so I could tell you that I think if I read more, I'll be in a better mood. Today we filmed ourselves having sex and then got upset because I thought I looked too big and you thought you looked too small. Then we went to watch the sunset, which is a nice thing to do. My big plan is to lose weight by only eating cucumbers. Cucumbers for meals only. My therapist says it's so important right now to be gentle. Lately, it's so fucking impossible to talk to her, which is the thing I am paying to do. The river is low enough that I can go walk around it and skip rocks, which is a nice thing to do. Even as I finish this poem, I'm mad at myself for not having started another one yet. Thank you. And one more. Okay, standing ovation. You guys are embarrassing me. Sit down, sit down, sit down. Cool. Okay. This is road trip poem number 20. I think a company that mailed me free sunglasses just unfollowed me on Instagram. We agree that watching the sun set is better than watching it rise. After it's up, you have to just like do a whole day. I've gone full tilt suburban mom, leaving my coffee on top of the car as we speed off, unbuttoning my jeans as we drive, wishing I was somewhere else for a second, and then changing my mind. Thank you.
Yay.
Oh my God, and definitely
Even
sound off in the comms.
fun.
I love to engage.
Kat, first of all, I like that the last poem was about a company that sent you sunglasses because you have something really remarkable happen today, and I want you to be able to share that.
Thank you so much for giving me the space to be who I am. I want to tell everyone that sometimes Twitter can be an amazing place. Sometimes you can tweet about your favorite beverage, Bud Light Seltzer, and they will actually go ahead and send you 3 packs of Bud Light Seltzer. Yes, girls. It's like beer
Amazing.
for girls.
Amazing. Um, and I love how during quarantine, we have plenty of time to give in to our body dysmorphia and look at weird bumps wherever they may be.
It's been rough. I mean, I'm like, I told you from the waist, like, it's sweatpants from here down. It's hard out there.
It's hard out there or in here.
If jeans fit them currently, I cannot connect with you, and definitely feel free to actually exit the Zoom. You can just press leave. If your jeans fit, press leave.
So Kat, like I see you screenshot stuff from your notes app and put it on Instagram, and it seems really stream of consciousness and like sort of effortless and off the tip of your tongue. But like your editor is this really acclaimed poetry editor and poet who wrote a gushing note about you in your galley. And like tell me about taking silly poems and working on them and making them not just silly.
Yeah, working with Deb, who's an absolute icon. Deb Garrison was a dream come true. I love her work as a poet, and she has the best taste of. And yeah, she was really good. I'd kind of throw something aside and be like, I don't know, this is just like a dumb thing about my butthole. And then she and her assistant Todd would be like, no, this actually reminds me of this. And they would like drop all these literary references, and I was like, okay, I'm a genius, and I didn't know. Um, no, they gave me the confidence to, I think, explore like a more earnest, serious side of myself, which I'd already been doing kind of privately, but hadn't yet shared. And yeah, they just encouraged me to tap into that. And they're definitely stream of consciousness vibes when I write them, but a lot of the poems in the book, like I ended up kind of going back and editing and swapping around or cutting things that felt superfluous. And yeah, it was just so nice to be taken seriously as a writer. It like I love I think everything should be funny, and I don't like being like I'd rather write something serious that makes people laugh than like jokes, you know?
Sure.
That makes sense. But yeah, it was a great, very seamless process working with them.
And tell me about editing. Like, have you been edited a lot before? Like, was this a newish process for you?
No, it was so nice. I'm always like I want all the help I can get. Like I'm not precious about anything. I'm not married to anything. I'm like slice it, cut it, get rid of it. But I also feel like I got really in tune with my gut. Like every now and then someone would suggest like cut that line and I was like, "No, I know that. Like that one's important to me." Or like I remember one time there was one I really liked that I posted to Instagram that people really connected with, and it almost didn't make it into the book. And then I was like, no, I like that one, and people like that one. I think it should be in there. And so, um, yeah, it was. I love being edited. I'm like, SOS.
And so tell me about like making these poems and knowing what is a poem and what is a thought or what is a tweet, and putting them all together to make a cohesive thing.
Yeah, that's something I'm still kind of figuring out. I think a lot of the lines in the book did start out as tweets, and for me, it's just like a rhythmic thing. Like if I'm feeling it, I sound so stupid, but if I'm feeling
No.
it and puh. I literally am just like I can't use words when I talk about it. I'm just like it's kind of like a boop boop boop. Then it's
That's
like zoo zoo zoo. Then it's a song, and if it's just like then it's a thought. But it's just a gut feeling, and the world wants you not to listen to your gut, and that's why you have to say no to the world, no the world, no the world, and you have to go hello me, hello me. I sound like I've had a lobotomy, which I essentially have by being in isolation.
I love this. And you make the literary references. You read that poem about who was it, Didion, and
I know. I know. I try and read books to just distract myself from my own mind.
what have you been reading lately? I know that's a tough, like that's the hardest question to be asked.
I
So like if you want to think about it, and we can talk about other things and we can get back.
I have it right here because I was reading it yesterday, and my dear friend who's on this Zoom, Amy Solomon, recommended it to me. It's We Keep the Dead Close by Becky Cooper. Have you read this?
Yes,
It's so good.
it's like, so it's true crime, um, but academia for women in the late 60s seems like really, really icky.
The whole world is just totally nuts and yet feels like not that long ago or not that far from what I've experienced.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really and I love how she weaves like her personal connection to it throughout the book without it feeling forced. It's just like whenever I pick it up, it's really hard to put down, and that's rare. I'm enjoying that. And then what else am I reading? Something on my nightstand, but I if I can't remember, that's probably not really connecting with me, is it? What else am I reading that I literally can't remember the name of?
No, I feel like that happens all the time though. Like, and it doesn't have anything to do with either your mind or the quality of the book. It's just like sometimes that's what happens.
But Maris, are you like if I start a book, I have to finish it, or are you like
No,
feeling it, I put it down?
I've tried to get better at putting them down.
It's
Sometimes
hard.
I throw them.
What?
Sometimes I throw them if I wanna be performative, but
Yeah, it's always tricky to know how long to give a book before you're like, "Not for me."
and I
Espe
do think that there are some that, like, you have to get to the end before it all comes together and but, like, not every book is like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like I'm trying to, like, get rid of my schoolgirl brain, which was trained to be like, "Read as fast as you can, finish the whole thing," and it's like, "Why am I reading so fast?" I'm like, I literally can't remember something I'm reading for pleasure. I'm like, "Who is this for?" I'm like, chaos.
Yeah, chaos. Tell me about the difference between, say, writing songs and writing poetry, and like where the performance aspect of it comes in. Like you are doing readings now, but like, you know, you release this book that doesn't necessarily come with a Cat Cohen performance.
I, yeah, I love reading the poems out loud in my act as well. I think for me, something becomes a song when there's, like, a chorus or a hook that is strong enough to be repeated. Otherwise, if a line feels like it's ephemeral, I'm like, "Just stick it in a poem, let it flow." I think songs take me longer and have to be a little more thought out because I need something that I can, like a tent pole, if you will. I used to call it, I used to think it was tent pieces. I'd be like, "I need, like, my tent pieces." And someone was like, "No, no, it's the pole. It's the thing that holds the tent up." And I was like, "What about the pieces?" Does that resonate with anyone? Tent pole. I actually have been camping.
When?
Well, thank you for asking. I went on a cross-country road trip this summer. I did some camping.
Oh, is that where the no, not this summer.
Yeah,
The
yeah, the
road
road
poems are from there?
yeah, yeah. So I started my newsletter in, like, June or July and, wrote poems on my road trip, and then, yeah, Deb called me towards the end of my trip and was like, "We have some extra pages. Do you wanna throw some of those new ones in?" And I was like, "Oh, yes," because I feel like I'd had, like, a breakthrough. I feel like honestly, I feel like the first half of the book and the second half are very different, and, like, it's fun. I wanted to, like, cut some of the earlier ones, but I think Deb encouraged me to, and I do think it's fun to have, like, kinda show the arc of, like, what my work my work. When I say my work, it's like, what am I smoking, like, 10 cigarettes? Like, my work has become.
Oh.
Oh my god. Love looking at everyone's dead eyes. Anyways, yes, I wrote those this summer!
That's amazing though. And so tell us a little bit more about the journey you took, because I think I don't know how many people who are here have read the book yet, but like I can really see it, Kat. Like it's like a really clear, like it becomes, dare I say, like very profound at the end.
Thank you. That's definitely the goal. I feel like, yeah, at the beginning, I was just doing it for the laughs, doing jokes, was super self-conscious, and then actually, I will give another you guys are like, "Okay, she's in love with this girl." Another shout out to my friend Amy because she started this, like, weekly poetry email thread, which felt like a safe space where I could share, like, more serious stuff without to, like, 10 people as opposed to posting it on my Instagram and being embarrassed, and I think doing that every week gave me the confidence to be like, "Okay, what am I tapping into here? Because this is more exciting to me than, like, making a joke." And, yeah, that's kind of where the second half of the book went, and now I'm much more comfortable just being, like, ending on, like, a sad note and being like, "You don't get it, grow up. Welcome to life." Life is so much harder than I thought it would be. What do you think? Do you think life's harder or easier than you thought it would be?
Who would say easier at this point?
It's been
What
such
kind of psycho would come into this?
I know. I think I'm just in this very Saturn return place where I'm like, I've always wanted so much, and now I'm kind of like, "Okay, what happens when you don't get everything?" It's painful.
It's painful.
God.
Quarantine is
I mean,
hard.
it's beyond. Did you even know this could happen? I always think, like, I didn't even know this was an option. Like, I have tons of anxiety, but this was never on the menu.
I mean, I saw, that movie where Gwyneth Paltrow dies.
Oh,
So
should I watch
I knew it was on the table, but, like, It's not the same. I didn't know it would be like this. I didn't know, like, it would be month 11, and my
I dropped.
apartment would just smell. There's, like, nothing I can do about it.
I know I keep just like moving my furniture around. No one knows why. There aren't that many places for it to go. I have the smallest apartment in America. But I'm just like, maybe if the table was here, maybe that'll change my whole life actually.
Tell me about what it's been like to not have an audience to perform to. Like, my husband is also a
I
stand-up,
know he's a very funny comedian.
and so I listen to him in the other room telling jokes to the void, and, imagine it must be very difficult.
Well, first of all, shout out to Josh. You know I adore him. You're a power couple. I'm obsessed. Um, it's been really tough. At the beginning, it was like, oh, I'm gonna fully lose my mind. Now I'm kind of numb and hollow. And like grateful for my health, as crazy as that sounds. I'm like, if you get COVID now, it's like, I really don't want to get it now. I mean, it's too late in the game. It's totally passe, totally embarrassing to come down with the girl now.
Yes, I agree. Um,
It's tricky.
Speaking of your friend Amy, you recently contributed a song to
Yes,
her upcoming, collection of funny women's writing.
we got to talk about it. Notes
Yeah.
from the bathroom line, a collection
Mhm.
of women's humor writing. It's gonna be divine. March, say it with me. 1, 2, 3. What is the date that it comes out, Amy? March 16th. Okay, it's literally every funny woman in America has contributed something to the collection. Well, a few years ago in LA, Amy showed me her copy of Titters, which is like this women's humor collection from the 70s, with an amazing cover. And she's like, I think this should exist for now. And I was like, yeah. And then here we are. And she's like, here we are. It's coming out in 5 seconds. Yeah, my a song I wrote called "Look at Me," the chorus being "Boys never wanted to kiss me, so now I do comedy." The sheet music for that is gonna be in the book, which is cool.
That's so cool.
It's so cool, especially because I can't read sheet music. That's why it's especially cool. So book that you can't read. Power move.
Tell me about your poem titles and how they have evolved, because I can see that too very clearly in the
Oh,
book.
yeah. I guess when I started, I felt, like, embarrassed and self-aware that I was writing poetry, so I was like, "Poem I wrote after I went shit," or something as a way of, like, protecting myself from, uh being vulnerable. And then it was a fun device to like put an extra joke in there. And then I was like, well, I don't want the whole book to be this. That feels redundant. And yeah, it was just a thing. Like sometimes it felt like a good fit, and sometimes the title just needed to be one word or like more serious or you know. I feel like there's two in a row that I like wrote the same weekend, and I think they're called like Oh God, It's Worse Than I Thought. And I kind of saw those as like, oh yeah, I like because they're on the same page. And to me, this is like kind of one situation, and I like how the titles kind of run into each other. But that's just me. What do I know? That's just me.
You're an acclaimed poet.
I'm an acclaimed poet, 29 years old, sweatpants, none of my clothes fit, alone in my house. Sipping coffee. I'm having night coffee. No one knows why. There's a big, big hair in the bottom of this mug, and I want to be open about that.
It's yours though, right?
Yeah, I shed like a what sheds a lot? Dog. Some kinds. Some kinds are wild. Some kinds don't. And you're like, how does that that's not fair.
They're hypoallergenic.
I love that. Y'all, I was telling Maris before we kind of let you normies into the chat that I was one text away from getting a Pomeranian puppy today, but I will be open about this. I walked by my friend's cafe and I met a musician slash astrologer, and he told me wait a few months.
Oh.
I know. He was wearing a hat with a feather in it. Would be remiss if I didn't share that deet.
And did he have any takes on what breed or what kind of dog?
Well, I was about to get a Pomeranian which I keep referring to accidentally as a pomegranate, which I think is very cute.
That's so cute.
No, he didn't have any, oh my God, he's literally in the chat. I'm addicted. Oh my God! Shout out to the astrologer who told me to wait a few months. Definitely check out his work. Oh, and it's his birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And if it's your birthday in this chat, happy birthday.
Please let us know.
So I'm gonna wait.
A reminder to put your questions in the chat if you want me to.
Oh yeah, definitely sound off in the comms. Yeah, I honestly, as soon as someone was like, even though I just met Otis, even though I just met you, Otis, when you're like, wait, I was like, okay, your wish is my command. Someone tells me to, you can rescue a dog. Yeah, but you know what about that is it's really hard right now. Like I have applied and they're like, too many people in New York like you want dogs, but that's not what this is about. Um, I'm not yet responsible enough to have a dog. This is about hardcover. This is about how I have a hardcover. That, and I brought this up, and I don't mean to publicly shame you, Maris, but this was not in the window at McNally Jackson when I walked by today.
I am terribly disappointed, but it was on a table, yes?
What?
It was on a table, though, yes?
Yeah, it was beautiful to see it on a table, but it wasn't on the front table. I have a
I
full.
will yell at some people tomorrow. Better
You
believe
know what? This town is just nuts. No, it was the first time I've seen it in a store. I was very grateful. Surreal. It was it was real. I mean, yeah. When people are like, that was surreal, it's like, no, it wasn't. That was real.
it. I mean, tell me about putting out a book during this time and like what's that been like?
Oh my God, I just feel so grateful for it. It's like I was like, shows can be canceled, shoots can be canceled, a book. I'm like, it's old timey as fuck.
Sure.
Can't stop people from reading a book. Book is one of the oldest things you can make. And I thought, no, I mean, this was scheduled to come out at this time before we knew that a virus was gonna close Earth. But yeah, I felt it's nice to have something to look forward to. And now that it's out, in terms of things to look forward to, I'm definitely looking for that. So if y'all have any events or things to live for. Oh, someone has a question. Oh my
Shall I
God.
read it to you?
Oh, I would love that.
Okay. Catherine asks, can you talk a little bit more about what an editor actually does? How often do you talk with her? What kind of notes do they give? It sounds like my dream job, but I don't know if my idea of it is totally different than what it actually entails.
Wow, yeah. I'm sure there are people who actually know much better than I do because I've just done this one project. But for me, well, it was interesting in that I kind of when I met up with Deb, I'd already written most of the book and it was just her kind of it was so gorgeous actually. I went home one day and in the mail, she'd printed out all the poems and with a red pencil like gone in and like made actual notes and I was like this is beyond like I felt so at peace. I just felt working on this was just so like pure, it was no bullshit, only and she was so great about she just totally got my voice and like everything she said was like obviously it's your call, but maybe this. And so I had the ultimate freedom, but she had amazing guidance and she's so experienced that I totally trusted her opinion of like what to include. It was also nice like knowing what would resonate with someone who wasn't like my best friend, or like someone my age in my exact situation. I'm like, oh, I want this to connect with lots of different people. How
Yeah.
often, but on your question, how often did I talk with her? It varied. Like sometimes we'd go months without talking. Sometimes it'd be like a few times a week. I think it's just totally varies, but I'm sure your instinct about what an editor does is correct. I mean, the editor is essentially like another writer on it. Like they're just so important.
Um, and I will pop in and say that the part that the others don't see that an editor does is like selling the book and the idea of Cat Cohen to the rest of the company. Because there's like so many different departments, like there's marketing and sales and subrights, and you've got to get everybody like on board. And so kind of psyching them up about it is really key too. Uh,
Totally. Yeah, I felt so lucky to feel so supported by my gals at Knopf. Looking at you, Eni.
nice.
Eni on the chat. Yeah, I was grateful they took a chance on someone like me who has not been to grad school, who remembers college, and who can barely finish reading a book. And yet here we are.
Caroline Meredith says, "Who are your favorite female writers,
Ooh.
and did any of them inspire this book?"
Yeah, I think everything I've read that I've liked has totally inspired this book. I mean, I'm trying to think my I'm trying to think of some of my earliest faves. I remember reading like Maggie Nelson and Sheila Heti when I first moved to New York and being like, what is this? Like my mind was like, I couldn't believe how vulnerable and smart and open and like just gushy and emotional and like present those books were. I was just totally enamored. And yeah, I really like Chelsea Martin. She does kind of like she has a great memoir book of essays, but she also does kind of like almost prose poetry. Her book Mickey, which I'm really obsessed with.
Hmm,
Yeah, I really like um I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm always drawn to nonfiction. Mm, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, all those people and many more have inspired. It's impossible not to be totally influenced by the things you know, connect with.
absolutely. Speaking of fiction versus nonfiction, tell me a little bit about what it's like to have a persona versus you sitting here talking to us about some really vulnerable poems you wrote.
I know. I'm like, persona. Who is she? What does that mean? I don't know if I have a persona or not. I think on stage, yeah, I'm more like ego driven and brash and unapologetic than I am in like this intimate like tea time with my gals on Zoom. But I kind of flow between them with ease.
Sure.
Fiction versus nonfiction. Yeah, I sound like such an idiot because I keep doing all these interviews and being like, I don't like novels because they're not true. It's like, no, I like novels. I think as a writer, it's harder for me. That's something I'm still trying to tap into. Like poems, songs, monologues, that stuff comes very easily from like scripts and third person stuff is still something I'm trying to figure out, like, what is my voice
Mm,
in the world?
that makes
Um,
sense.
and I admire people who are good at it.
What are you enjoying right now other than We Keep the Dead Close? Like, are you watching anything?
Well, y'all know I started Firefly Lane on Netflix. Did you start that? It's Katherine Heigl.
Yep.
What I love about it is that it's a period piece set in 2003, which is so funny to me. They're like, "It's 2003, bitch, wake up." And I'm like, "Yes." Um, Beyond that, I've been really into, y'all are gonna love this. I've been watching like sports movies to get me pumped up. Like these stories of like these stories that have a very clear rise and fall to be like, especially when I'm down like this, I'm like, if they, if Christian Bale can box his way out of his drug addiction, get through this month. So like I also started taking boxing lessons recently, which I'm obsessed
Ooh.
with. I just go and like punch this guy's hands until I can't breathe. And yeah, I watched The Fighter this weekend and then I watched The Wrestler last night.
Ooh, I like this theme.
I know it's a weird, I'm not normally drawn to it, but I love like right now I'm so in my own head and so depressed that watching a movie that has such a clear story, such strong characters that can actually like I really feel transported for a bit when I'm watching a movie like that that's so just like in your face and it's really
Mhm.
comforting. What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Oh, well, I just watched season 4 of Search Party.
Oh, I
Happy
think
to see your face.
Charles Rogers is the funniest person in the world.
It was really I wasn't expecting the kidnapping trapped in a place thing during quarantine that really just like got to me, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Um
Kind of things that I'm like, I will pay you to have one line on your show. Like, I just want to be involved. That is because it's so cool. But that's like about everything that I do. I'm just like, yeah, I just want to do stuff that I'm so eager to be in that I'm just like, you know.
what are you working on these days, and what are you looking forward to? Yeah, I
Um,
know. You don't have to say anything like
I'm working on like kind of balancing my pharmaceutical cocktail. Um, I'm doing my podcast, Seek Treatment. I'm doing my newsletter, my sexy little email. I'm doing lots of like auditioning, writing a few projects that are going to be kind of longer form, and thinking of what to do next. What's everyone here doing? What are you doing?
this.
Are you finding like have you been able to write and like feel productive?
No.
Yeah.
No,
It,
I haven't been able to write at all, which is part of the reason why I'm happy to be doing this, because I get to like get into another writer's head every single night. Oh, stop, busy. Sorry.
do you in the past would you write at home or you like I go to a coffee shop to do my
Coffee shop, coffee
no,
shop writing or like not writing is really the best. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
sure.
Yeah, this is why you shouldn't have a dog.
I
um,
still will. I'm gonna name her Miss Baby.
oh,
Little Miss Baby.
Miss Baby. Hey, she's yelling at someone like there's someone outside, and I don't think there is. Um,
Guys, guys.
Tell me about some of the best or strangest questions. I'm gonna mute myself in a second. That you've gotten on the podcast. Like, was there something extra challenging?
I'm trying to think. I think this past week, um, this girl wrote in and was like, "What do I do about this girl I work with who wants to hang out, who I don't like?" And I was laughing so hard because the advice Pat gave was like, "There's nothing you can do. You have to just keep lying to her until she leaves you alone." I'm like, "That's real life advice. You can't be like, hey, confront her. Tell her you don't like her." It's like, that's not life. You can't do that. So we were just like, yeah, just kind of like lie and ignore her until she leaves you alone, which is funny. Um, let's see. We have a question. We have another question in the chat.
Yes. Do you just write when you feel inspired, or do you schedule creative time? And is that something that comes easily to you?
Definitely doesn't come easy. I don't think anyone I think we all can agree that writing is extremely painful. I think in the past, I would just do the poems when I felt inspired, and that's how I knew it was like something I really cared about because it was like something I would do when I didn't feel like writing jokes, didn't feel like writing songs. I was like, "Oh, I just need like some time to like express myself." And then now that it's become something I do every week through my newsletter, I have to force myself, like, on Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning if I'm late, I'm just like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna send out something today, so I just have to, like, get this done." But, I definitely am not someone who writes every day. Usually, it's like, it's a lot of sitting until it's like, "Oh." If I'm late on the newsletter, I know, it's like, I'm late every time. It used to be I used to try and do it on Mondays, and it would come out Tuesdays. Now it comes out Tuesdays, which means it comes out Wednesdays.
It's good you started early in the week though, because you have space.
Exactly. I have this room to fail and grow.
I'm so sorry. Busy, stop it.
Don't be sorry, I love her. I feel connected.
She knows when I'm excited about something, and have to focus my attention back to her. There's a bigger diva here, Kat. I'm sorry.
I bow down.
um, any other questions from the gang? While Busy yells her head off.
Would you
Yeah.
ever write another book of poetry? Of course. Of course, there's always going to be more. Lots of, I hope lots more books in my future. We'll see. Who knows what my life will become? Who knows what any of our lives will become?
We truly don't know.
Truly. Well, I'm grateful for all y'all for coming. It really makes these events feel very fun. It's nice to celebrate alongside my gals.
Oh, Otis can tell all of us.
Oh, right. No, but he said he's an astrologer, not a psychic, so I'm feeling misled. I'm sorry to ask all these questions, but don't ever be sorry. Don't ever apologize for who you are. How do you know when something is done? I rarely edit things because I am impatient. It's just a gut feeling is my answer. I don't know. But there are things that have felt done to me and then I had to go back and change them. Does that feel different now than it used to? I don't know. Kat, where's the first place you want to go on tour post-demic? Post-demic, that's a word I like. Um, London. Is that okay? Oh my God, my newsletter. It's katcohen.substack.com.
Perfect. Um, okay.
Wow.
Choose your own adventure.
Wow, thank you. Oh my God, life is a choose your own adventure. I knew you were gonna say that. Oh yeah, yeah. This has been so fun.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Kat.
for having me.
Just a reminder that you should definitely buy the book from McNally Jackson. And if I imagine that if enough people buy the book from McNally Jackson, it like has to get into the window.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone go buy it. Go by the Soho location because that's kind of my number one girl. And just go put it in the window. Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone is, doing okay and sending everyone cozy vibes and know that if you're feeling like shit, everyone is. And we're all doing it together. I love you all.
Good night.